Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of True Crime Strategic Eyes. So today I was working. Well, I'm always working, so what's new with that, right? But I was working, and today was the sentencing of Jake Haro, ladies and gentlemen. So we weren't able to cover this live. I know many of you guys probably have already seen this already, but you haven't seen it with me. You haven't gotten my expertise when it comes to what we see here in this sentencing. So listen, I would love for you guys to join me today, so I hope that you're willing to do that. We're going to jump right into it because we're supposed to do this live a little bit later on tonight, but I'm starting to get tired. Like, it's just been a really long day. I've been bombarded with some crazy cases, so I gotta get to bed. All right, that being said, make sure you hit that like button, support the channel. I apologize again for anybody who's been expecting a later show. Some of my audience is overseas, international, so that would have been like a afternoon or early morning show for you. It would have probably been better for you than the show that we're doing right now, but whatever, it is what it is. So guys, make sure you hit that like button, support the channel, and if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you subscribe so we could get into that algorithm and grow this channel. Strategic, I'm not gonna lie to you, is tired today. I'm gonna try to keep my energy up. I'm gonna try to still be entertaining as I possibly can, but I am tired. I am very fatigued, and this has been a really busy week, and it will continue to be a busy week for me until the week is over. So that being said, guys, let's jump right into this. Jake Haro's sentencing for his horrible deeds. Let's keep going. Oh boy, look at him. He's wiping his eyes. Wiping his eyes. For anybody who's watching, you don't know, Aki, good job for reminding me, just to let people know. I'm an active duty detective, and that's why I'm tired. I have a day job. My job is not just YouTube, even though that's a cool job. I hope one day I could just be a YouTuber, but I am an active duty detective, so I got to juggle doing this amazing channel and also serving the people. People asking in the chat what happened to Rebecca. Rebecca has not been sentenced yet. I think her sentencing is next year, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so we're gonna fast forward a little bit, kind of get us to where we need to go. Hold on. Jake trying to do his best to show us that he's actually a human being. It's not working though. Still our monster, buddy. Fast forward a little bit. So people are like, where's his family members? Like, why didn't he have a support structure or whatever to come and support him? But in all actuality, I mean, would you really want to support somebody like this? Like, I know people are made different, and believe me, being in the criminal justice line of work and as a detective, I see family members supporting their loved ones through thick and thin. But I'm not the type of guy who would do that. You know, if I have, it's one thing if you have a teenager that's committed a crime or something like that. It's another thing when you have a, grown man in his 30s who've committed the horrible acts that Jake Haro has committed. I'm not going to support him. So I don't know if he doesn't have any family support, or if it's just that they don't want to be there because they are disgusted with his actions. I really couldn't tell you which one it is. I heard through the course of this investigation that Jake Haro had a very troubled life growing up, but that has nothing to do, and that's not an excuse for the actions he committed. He purposely made young people just so he could abuse them. That doesn't make any sense. He didn't have to be a dad. He didn't have to bring life into this world, but it's almost like he purposely brought life in this world just so that he can hurt that life. To me, he's a monster, and that's far deeper than just being abused when you're young. There's something spiritually evil with you, as far as I'm concerned. Let's keep going. Let us not forget, people. Let us not forget Baby Promise Faith. Let's not forget Promise Faith. Mandy says that Jake's sister was there. I'm reacting to this, so I'm just reading what people saying in the chat. So I guess Jake's sister was there. I have never seen this before. Now he's making the cross sign. For what? Jesus is not there with you, bro. You have not asked for forgiveness. He is trying his best to make us think that he's a human being. He's not. But as I was saying, let's never forget Baby Promise Faith. He got away with this one time, ladies and gentlemen. He was scot-free to live the rest of his life as though Promise Faith never existed. He got away with this one time already. And what did he do with that second chance that society gave him? He did it to Emmanuel Haro. Never forget Promise Faith.
Please remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session.
All right, let's do it.
And before we go forward with the sentencing in the Jake Haro matter, again, announcing to the public there are no use of cell phones, no
He's saying no cell phones to my cell phone.
recording except
Always
for the
happens.
full camera. There will be no comments about the case while the court is in session, no outbursts, and please follow the instructions given by our RSO deputies.
All right, so apparently the chat is calling me out already. The chat is calling me out because when we in court, we got to wear the wig. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to interrupt this live stream for a second so I can get prepared for court. Court is in session, ladies and gentlemen. We got to respect the court. Court is in session. All right. Let's get back to business.
With that, calling the matters of Jake Haro. Appearances, please.
Thank you. I'll let Mark wait for Mr. Haro. He is sitting right next to me at council table. And thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Allison Lowe, also on behalf of Jake Haro.
Good afternoon.
Gotta
Your Honor.
flip up
Mr.
these.
Robinson for the people.
Good afternoon, Brandon Smith for the people.
Thank you. And good afternoon, Mr. Haro.
There we go.
And this is the time and place set for sentencing. Are both sides ready to go forward at this time?
Yes.
And the court has read and considered the sentencing memorandums provided by Ms. Garthwaite and Ms. Lowe, as well as Mr. Smith and Mr. Robinson, as well as the probation report. At this time, does either side want to be heard further? Mr. Smith, Mr. Robinson, any victim impact statements for the court to consider?
There will be no victim impact statements.
Okay. And Ms. Garthwaite, Ms. Lowe?
Wait. They said no victim impact statements. Nobody came to support this baby. Nobody came to talk up for Emmanuel Haro. 0 people.
Very briefly reiterate the defense objection to imposing court fees and fines. Mr. Haro is indigent. He's a public defender client. I believe that the court is going to sentence him to a lengthy sentence. And prior to his arrest, he was unable to work and was receiving disability. So we would object to the court imposing any court fees and fines. If the court is going to assess a restitution fine, it is based, or the defense requests that based on the indigent
All right, two things. Number one, the defense doesn't want him to have to pay any money, which is probably not going to be granted, but I've never seen this before. Maybe the judge does grant it. But you always got to pay some kind of money. It doesn't matter how indigent you are because you earn money in prison. So you could pay off those court fees with the money that you earn in prison working inside of the prison. And number two, the chat is saying one person did speak up. So he just asked if there's any victim impact, and the answer was no. But apparently from the chat, there was one, and it's the grandmother or the adopted mother of Rebecca. So let's keep going.
That the court set it no higher than $300, which is the minimum.
Okay. And Mr. Smith, Mr. Robinson, do you want to be heard in regards to that?
Yes, I'd say that while I intend to submit in large part on the sentencing memorandum by filed with the court, I do want to reiterate that while I understand the court has some discretion in this matter regarding the sentence and the fines and fees, I want to emphasize the fact that this defendant deserves no leniency in any regards as to sentence or as to fines and fees. The court is well aware of how this case began with the defendants standing in front of law enforcement and the public and creating this public panic about a child being kidnapped, and the resources that were expended in order to investigate those lies of the defendant need to be addressed in this sentence as well. So I would ask that the court recognize that in deciding how much to assess the defendant in fines and fees, as well as in exercising its discretion regarding the appropriate sentence in this case.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Anything further before the court begins its sentence?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Where's the grandmother?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, we've had, I guess, a change of opinion. So Emmanuel Haro's grandmother has now asked to address the court about the sentence.
Okay. Big shout out to Jail and welcome to the membership.
Ready at this time?
Ma'am.
All right, bring her up here. Let's see this lady. Oh boy. Oh, that lady?
And Mr. Smith, if we can.
Yeah, I have not seen this. I know it's not going to be good. This lady is trash. This is the one whose son murdered his girlfriend and she was defending him. I know that this is going to be trash. See, this is why you guys were giggling and smiling in the chat like, you were strategic. Let's see how you feel about the grandma statement. I know why you were doing that now. I know exactly why you was, because this lady, oh, you guys know we've been doing other cases. We've been touching other cases. I totally forgot about this lady. The moment I see her face, I know we're going to need some order in the court. All right, let's see. Let's listen to it. Let's listen.
Yes, so this is Emmanuel Haro's maternal grandmother.
Oh, boy.
Her first name is Mary, M-A-R-Y. And I'll have her spell her last name.
B-U-S-H-A-U-S-E-N.
Oh, boy.
Good afternoon, ma'am, and thank you for being here today. And ma'am, I want to make sure that I hear everything that you have to say, that our court reporter can take down everything that you have to say, and that we have an accurate record. We've cleared our entire afternoon, so you don't feel the need to be rushed. So whenever you're ready, if you could speak loudly and clearly and slowly for us. But whenever you're ready.
I want Jake to look at me. I want him to face me.
And ma'am, if you can address the court.
I would like for him to face me, to look at me.
Okay.
He's not going to do it. You can't make him do it. Just keep going.
And ma'am, if you could speak up as loud as you can, please.
I wanted Jake to face me, to look at me, because I told him that I would be here for his sentencing before he was arrested. I talked to him about as a friend to tell me everything. Because he didn't give me the opportunity to meet my grandson. He destroyed my whole family. He branded his children for life. He damaged all his children for life. And in doing that, he destroyed my family, my children, everybody in my family. All my children are destroyed by this. He changed my daughter to where we don't know who she is. He never gave me a chance to see my grandchildren.
Right. So Jake Haro, the boy, changed that grown woman and made her do something that she wouldn't have normally done. Mind you, she's like 10, 12 years older than him. But let's keep going. It looks like she's trying to blame Jake Haro for everything and give no accountability to her own daughter. But let's keep going.
He kept my daughter away. I don't know what he did or how he changed my daughter's life.
Oh my gosh.
But she was never that same person after she went to live with him. The only reason Rebecca came back, because in March I had a stroke. And my son got hold of her and told her I was in ICU. That's how I met Mackenzie, my 2-year-old granddaughter. I didn't even know she existed.
Oh.
Because I was not aware that she was pregnant with Mackenzie. I was not aware that she was pregnant with Emmanuel.
Now, there's a reason why Rebecca did not want to connect with you, and I don't think it had anything to do with Jake Haro. I think it had everything to do with you. Just like you can't even hold your daughter accountable for her actions. You guys understand, Aki made a good point to me off screen. Rebecca didn't even implicate Jake Haro. Rebecca told the story of how Emmanuel was taken in this parking garage, and Jake Haro was not even a part of that story. That's why it's a shocker when we find out that Jake Haro's the one that's saying that he did this. Now, Aki disagrees with me. When I followed up behind the scenes and we talking on the phone, I said, you know what? I get the feeling. I got a feeling. Remember that song? Tonight's gonna be a good. I got a feeling. And some of you guys might get mad at me with this feeling that I have. I have no evidence to back it up. I got a feeling that Jake Haro might be taking a rap for Rebecca. Even though common sense tells me that Jake Haro did this because of his past, isn't it just convenient to blame him because of his past? I'm not saying he didn't lay a hand. I'm not saying he didn't bury a body. I'm not saying he didn't take part in the abuse, but I got a feeling that Rebecca's hands aren't clean. Maybe she's the one who took Emmanuel's life. And Jake is like, I love this woman. I'm already a monster. I'll just take the rap. Maybe they'll take it easy on the woman I love. I don't know. I don't trust Jake. I don't trust Rebecca. And I don't trust her mama's teeth. I don't trust none of these people. Let's keep going.
I never met Emmanuel. You know, he deprived everybody. And it has hurt my children because the media has torn all of my children apart, okay? Because they say, Grandma knows, Grandma isn't on it, Grandma doesn't know nothing. If I had known what was going on, I would have take my daughter out of there forcefully, or I would have called the police. My sons would have come and got her, okay? Never did we ever knew anything. If I had known when I called social service when Rebecca moved in, I called social service to let them know that I didn't like him. That because my granddaughter Irene was afraid. She didn't want to be there. She called me and she says, Grandma, I don't want to be there. Okay, so I called social service. I asked social service to give me a report of what had happened, what they found out. Oh no, she's fine, the house is beautiful, they have food in the fridge, that's it.
Now, she admitted, as Aki pointed out, but I heard that, but it didn't stand out to me because I figured it just makes sense. But it is important. She admitted that she never met Emmanuel, and she only met Mackenzie one time, and that was when she was in a hospital after having a stroke. But yet, when we all came asking, when YouTube came asking, when the CBS News came asking, and the CNN came asking, she was at the front line saying the story that Rebecca wanted us to believe. Remember that? So if you don't know Rebecca, you really don't know your daughter. You haven't spoken to her in years. If you never, ever even met Emmanuel, if you only seen Mackenzie one time, why are you giving interviews basically getting us all to believe a lie that Emmanuel was kidnapped by that dude in the sombrero hat? Let's keep going, man. This lady is out of control.
Social service come and told me what he had done to promise his other children. Nothing of this would be here. We wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. My grandchildren, Emmanuel wouldn't be gone. Mackenzie wouldn't have been born. Because he had already done a lot of horrible things to his other children. He branded those children for life. And in the same way, branded all my children too. Because I can't go nowhere without they asking me. Every time I go to the store or somebody recognizes me, they attack me, you know? On social media, everywhere. And that is not my...
They don't attack you. They call you out because, like they said in the chat, I'm not even going to say your name. You got to change that name. That name is unpronounceable. But like this beautiful person in the chat said, Grandma said they wouldn't hurt their babies. They're homebodies. That's why, because you defended them. You didn't have to do that. You could have just said, hey, you know, I'm trying to find out the truth. I'm trying to understand what happened to my grandson. That's all you had to say. But you defended them. You told us that we were chasing a red herring. You threw us off the scent. At least you tried to. And you didn't even know these people. You didn't know the kids. You didn't know your own daughter. You certainly didn't even know Jake Haro. Let's keep going.
Or my children. This has been horrible for us. I was glad the day that got arrested because I fear for my daughter's life. I fear for everybody. And, you know, he had a second chance. My daughter didn't have a chance with him. Or his children. His children didn't have a second chance. And I think the judge that let him go should be here sitting with him. And so is social service.
Right, because it's everybody's fault.
They could have told me.
It's everybody's fault. The judge from the first case is that judge's fault, because if he was in jail longer for that first case, guess what? He'd have never met Rebecca, and Rebecca wouldn't be in trouble right now. Social services is their fault, because if they would have found deficiencies in the home and removed the children, Rebecca wouldn't be in trouble right now. It's everybody's fault but Rebecca Haro. Why? Because Grandma said so.
Oh no, protocol doesn't allow us to tell you anything. Well, how are we supposed to protect our children if we don't know?
How about you raise children who don't hurt other children? How about you raise your daughter with morals, raise your son with morals? Don't forget, you are hearing from the lips of this woman, and I have a lot of respect for older people. I feel like we should revere our elders, but this person does not deserve our adoration or our respect. Why? Those are strong words that just came out my mouth. Why? because every single person she's raised has turned out to be a bad person. Do not forget that her son is serving almost life in prison. I think he got like 30 years or something like that for killing his girlfriend. Killing his girlfriend. And then here comes Rebecca, and she did the same thing to her own son, or participated. So who is she to put blame on anybody when all of these people who are hurting so many other people and destroying so many lives are a product of her raising? Make it make sense. Why don't you stop blaming other people, start blaming yourself?
The court knows what's going on. I didn't know. I called social service. I didn't know what he had done to his other children. And here he sits, you know, like nothing.
It's not about you.
Somebody will give him another chance. And I don't want that. Because he didn't give his children a chance. He didn't give my daughter a chance to be happy to take care of her children, okay? My 20-year-old granddaughter, my 18-year-old granddaughter are a mess because of him. Mackenzie, it's totally changed, a little baby, a 2-year-old girl that has nothing, okay? I'm very, very stressed out, very angry at the justice system for letting this guy, giving him a chance. Who gave my grandchildren a chance, a second chance? Did CPS check? Why didn't they tell me? Oh look, this is what that guy does. He takes it out on the children, on the babies. He can't do it to a grown person. He's not man enough to do it to a man.
That's
okay?
messed up. The chat is terrible.
He destroys so many lives. His mom, his brother, everybody. Okay? Nobody wants to be here. Nobody wanted to come and look at it.
You know, people are saying that she let those babies down. I don't think so. I think she let Rebecca Haro down. She let her son down. She raised these people to grow up to become terrible human beings who then in turn did not protect the people that they were supposed to love. Her son did not protect and respect his girlfriend's life. Her daughter did not protect and respect her son's life. She didn't fail Emmanuel. By extension, yes, grandparents are important as parents, but the true onus and responsibility to protect Emmanuel was Rebecca's job. She failed Rebecca by raising her to be the selfish, demonic human being that she is, that either participated or stood by as Emmanuel Haro was destroyed. Since she like using that word destroyed, she probably was watching my show because we were saying destroyed for a very long time on this case. While Emmanuel Haro was destroyed by Jake Haro and possibly even Rebecca. That is her sin. Her sin is the adults that she brought into this world or raised. Some of these folks are adopted. Doesn't matter. She was the parent. She took up that mantle. She has to take the blame when those people fall short so monstrously, epically. Let's keep going, guys. Please hit that like button. By the way, we have over 200 people watching us on this live stream. So excellent number because this was already live streamed this morning. Most of you guys have already seen it, yet you're still joining me because I love you. You guys are amazing, man. Thank you so much. Or rather, because you guys love me and I love you back in return. It's a mutual love thing going on here. I know you feel it. Anyway, please hit that like button, support the channel so we get in that algorithm. Let's keep going, man. This is probably the second worst victim impact statement I've ever heard. For some reason, the victim impact statement that was given at the Madeline Soto, Stephen Stearns trial, the one given by the roommate where she was doing her ICE application, to me, that's still the worst one. when she's talking about going through the mountains, coming from Venezuela, and how not even Venezuela is as bad as America, that she came here to be free, but now she had to be recorded underneath the door, even though Madeline Soto was getting abused in the room right next to her, and she never cared to find out why this grown man was going in this room with that girl every single night. She didn't care until Maddie was already gone. Remember that one? That's still the #1 most cringe and inappropriate and selfish victim impact statement ever broadcast on YouTube. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a close second. Let's keep going. And she still has time to top it. Maybe at the end of her statement, she might top the Madeline Soto one. But Madeline Soto victim impact statement from that roommate is still #1. Let's see where this goes.
But I have to speak for my grandson and my grandchildren, and for my children too, because they're going through every hell in this world, okay?
Thank you, Mom.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't mourn my grandson that he passed away. We buried him on the 5th of August, and they were saying that, oh, we probably bury Emmanuel in my grandson's, when we bury my grandson, okay?
Mm.
I lost my grandson on the 5th. We buried my grandson on the 5th of August. Then he calls me on the 14th of August and says that Emmanuel is kidnapped. And then my sister passes on the 17th of August. We didn't have a chance to mourn any of my sister, my grandson, my other grandson, none. Because everybody was angry at everybody because how could this happen? Why? I wish you could look at me and tell me why.
You guys remember like the Apollo Theater? Like, I don't know if you know, I mean, it's world famous. I know especially some of my older audience members will remember the Apollo. You guys remember like whenever somebody come out and sing and they're not singing good, the Sandman would come out and he'd do his dance, kind of like booed him off the show. Like, I wish we had a Sandman who could just like come in and just like shoo her off the podium and sit her down so we could get back to the sentencing and get some justice for Emmanuel. Like, it's too late. All right. This is very self-serving, very selfish. It's all about you. You're the best parent on the planet. Your daughter's innocent. This affected you. And that is it. Unbelievable.
He was never in my house. He knew I didn't like him. He knew I called social service, and that's why he kept my daughter away. He changed her so she couldn't have no contact with me or his brothers. Okay? Had I had not had a stroke, I would have never met McKinsey or, probably heard it on the news about Imani. Okay? So don't blame my children. The media has blamed my children, everybody. The TikTokers, everybody. Grandma Mary knows. I don't know nothing, okay? And I stand here with you, asking you to give him the maximum. Because I don't want him to give him another chance. He didn't give nobody a chance. He had many chances. He had a chance. The judge gave him a second chance. The probation gave him another chance. The CPS, oh well, no, he's fine. He's got food in the fridge and the house is clean.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Welcome,
That's
Anon.
not fair to the children.
New
Let
recruit.
somebody out like that. And I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm just very, very upset and very stressed out.
Order in the court.
Ma'am, no need to apologize. This proceeding here is for you to make your impact statement to
She
talk about
comfortable.
how the crime has affected you and your family. I do want to lead with, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for all the hurt that you and your family have gone through.
A lot of hurt.
And I want to thank you for being here today.
I'm here because I'm the only one that
She got comfortable. She leaning on the
wanted to be here.
podium. She ain't
So
going
my
nowhere.
children
We're going to be
don't
here
even wanna-
forever.
Don't trust themselves to come in and talk because they're so upset, so angry.
29,
at the system, what they
32,
did.
40, like
How
45.
could they give him a second chance when you see
Got
the
like a minute to
pictures
go?
of the little girl? How? That's beyond me. You know, you get two drunk driving tickets and you go to jail or you pay a goddamn fine. And he, a slap on the hand, go and do community work. Okay?
But she ain't lying about that,
How
though.
does that happen, Your Honor?
She not lying about this. You know, she not lying. That's exactly what happened. That is a respectable question. She needs to sit down. Yes, I agree, but she's not lying. What the sentence that Jake Haro got is repulsive. It is not a sentence that I'd imagine that anybody in the United States of America would get. That's like a third world country sentence for a rich person. That's a third world country sentence for a rich person that bought off the judge, bought off the jury, bought off the magistrate, bought them all off. And they said, well, we got to make it look good. So we got to find you guilty, but we're going to make sure you don't do no jail time. If Jake Haro was a politician, a rap star, I don't know, a bachata star, whatever, then I would say that this is corruption. But Jake Haro is a bum. And they gave a bum this sentence in California. That shows you how broken our criminal justice system is in California and other places around the country. And it's not even a red state or a blue state thing. It's a state thing because you can find the same disparities in some red states as well. It's an American problem. It's a bipartisan problem we need to fix. Jake Haro got the sentence that we expect some Chinese, Cambodian, Indian, Russian bureaucrat would get. Not something you would find in the Western hemisphere. Not something you would find in Western culture, I should say, rather. A Western country. A country is not supposed to have corruption. The sad part is, at least the corruption would have explained it. It would have explained it if Jake Haro was rich or a superstar or a CEO or oligarch. It would have given us a reason. What is the reason for letting Jake Haro go free after what he did to Promise Faith? There's no reason. There's no rhyme and no reason why he would do what he did to her. Leave her with 3% of her brain function and be allowed to do it again. And this time he went too far. So at the end of the day, I know I said that her parenting is part of the problem. We all know Jake Haro, aka Jake the Snake, is a part of the problem. We all know that the criminal justice system out there is part of the problem. When you're a sergeant out there and one of your cops does something wrong, you take the hit because you're the supervisor. When you're a detective and your case don't go wrong, goes wrong, you take the hit because that's your case. You're the detective. Well, I think that in this case, we have to take the hit because we are society. And we are allowing these type of cancers in our society to fester where we're passing laws and policies that are allowing people like Jake to get away with what could tantamountably just be considered murder. It's going to sound bad what I'm about to say, and I'm going to get back to this, and I apologize for this long pause. But is there any difference between the life that Promise Faith is living now versus the alternative on if Jake would have taken her life? Yes, she lives, but there is no quality of life to her life. She doesn't smile. She doesn't talk. She doesn't express herself. It's not like she is like the mind of a 2-year-old or mind of a 6-month-old or mind of an 8-year-old. She has 3% of her brain function. If her parents don't clear her throat of mucus, she will die overnight from choking on her own phlegm. So every single night, they have to clear her throat of mucus. They have to change her. They have to feed her through a tube. They have to bathe her. Like I said, they have to clear her throat of mucus so she doesn't choke on her own mucus. She can't communicate. She can't show emotion. She can't show feeling. She shows nothing. She's effectively the living dead. And yet, Jake the Snake only had a 6-month sentence that was suspended. And instead, he got probation. And that is the extent of his punishment. We got to own that in society, that we allow these things to happen in our society. It's our fault. We voted these people in. We let them sign these bills, and we do nothing. Let's keep going.
I want to know how did that happen.
Anything else, ma'am?
No. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, Mr. Robinson, any other impact statements on behalf of the people?
No, thank you.
Ms. Garthwaite, Ms. Lowe, no impact statements on behalf of the defense?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
And submitting on your motion?
Yes.
Submitting on your motion.
Yes.
So the court is now going to pronounce judgment at this time. Ms. Lowe, Ms. Garthwaite, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Smith, are you okay if I sentence on all three together, all three cases?
Yes.
Yes.
This time, this court, having taken the defendant's plea, having read and considered the probation report, and having seen, heard, and considered the evidence and arguments of counsel at the sentencing hearing, as well as taking judicial notice of its own records, hereby pronounces the sentence as described in this order. The court imposes an aggregate sentence of 180 days and 6 years, 8 months, plus 25 years to life and fines as specified.
25 years to life.
Shortly, the sentence of 180 days and 6 years and 8 months will be determinate. The 25 years to life is indeterminate and will be described at this time.
Let's see what he says.
Probation is denied.
Good.
Because Mr. Haro was on probation for a felony offense at the time he committed the serious and violent offenses of murder and assault on a child under 8 causing death, he is ineligible for probation pursuant to Penal Code Section 1203. Accordingly, probation is denied. In regards to the terms of imprisonment, this case involves the imposition of determinate terms and indeterminate terms. The court will first address the indeterminate terms.
Let's hear it, the indeterminates.
The briefing submitted by Ms. Lowe and Ms. Garthwaite, as well as by Mr. Smith and Mr. Robinson. For count 1, in case FERI 2504-808-1, murder in the second degree, the court imposes the only term provided by law of 15 years to life.
Okay.
The court notes that the amended complaint filed by the people lists the punishment for count 1 as 25 to life, which would suggest that the charge is first-degree murder, but we did have a discussion at the last hearing regarding those sentence or that charge and that it was in the second degree. So I want to make sure that that's clear, Mr. Smith and Ms. Lowe.
Yes, Your Honor.
Accordingly, the court orders the designation of the 25 to life stricken from the amended complaint. For count 3, in case FERI 2504-808-1, assault on a child under 8 causing death, the court imposes the only term provided by law of 25 years to life.
Okay.
The court finds that counts 1 and 3, in case ending in 808-1, are based on the same act. An act or omission that is punishable in different ways by different provisions of law may be punished under either of such provisions, but in no case shall the act or omission be punished under more than one provision. Accordingly, the court stays the punishment for count 1, the murder charge, pursuant to section 654.
Right.
The court declines to state a punishment for count 3 instead of count 1 pursuant to section 654.
Right. So basically, you can only do one sentence at a time, one sentence. So he stayed the top charge because the top charge was less time than the bottom charge. This is weird. But anyway, he did it so that he could get the 25 to life. You guys understand this guy's going to walk the street again, right? You guys know that, right? This is not justice. 2 kids, he like in New York during sentencing, you could bring up prior acts. You know, every state is different. These are all rules for court, and different states have different rules for court. And in New York, during sentencing, you could bring up prior acts. You could talk about what he did to promise faith. Apparently, they didn't even touch on that. The grandma touched on it a little bit, but they didn't even touch on that. You guys understand this guy is going to walk the streets again. This is not really justice. He should have got life without the possibility of parole. Guys, California fails again. Ah! California fails again. The guy is like, what is he, like 20 something, 30? I think maybe he's like 31 or something like that. He'll be out when he's what? He's going to be eligible for parole before 25. 25 to life means that at the bare minimum, at the max rather, at 25 years, you start getting parole hearings. But you can, he's 31. I got it. Thank you so much. But you can accumulate good time where you can get parole hearings before the 25 to life. So he is going to be entitled to a parole hearing every year or 2 years after 25. They have to give him a parole hearing. It's only a matter of time till some knucklehead on the parole board out there, because you know there's some interesting folks out there in Cali who's going to say, give him a chance. He's reformed. He's reformed. Give him a chance. This is not justice. He should have got life without the possibility of parole. Let's keep going.
Mr. Haro, through his attorney, urges the court to stay the higher punishment because he acknowledged wrongdoing and pled guilty at an early stage of the criminal process, which is a mitigating factor under the rules of court. And the court does not find this to be a compelling reason to select the 15-year to life term in lieu of the 25-year to life term. While Mr. Haro did plead guilty at an early stage in the proceedings, this does not outweigh the significant and considerable aggravating factors that he has admitted to. It cannot be ignored that Mr. Haro was on probation for severely abusing one child when he decided to assault and kill another child. Further, the court knows...
So that's good. So the same thing's in California where you could bring up the past deeds, and that's what the judge just did. He spoke about promised faith. This is good. Let's keep going. Maybe this ends up better than what I think it is.
Mr. Haro was out on bail in 2 cases, including one for abusing his daughter when he killed Baby Emmanuel. And the fact that Mr. Haro pled guilty at an early stage, while not insignificant, cannot overcome the horrific nature of the circumstances here. Given the admissions Mr. Haro himself has made with respect to the aggravating factors, accordingly, I will impose the indeterminate term of 25 years to life. Mr. Haro has also been convicted of 3 felony charges with determinate sentences. The court selects the child abuse charge, 273A from case BAF 2101265-2 to be the principal offense. The court orders executed the previously imposed term of 6 years, which is the upper term. As will be explained, the court orders the determinate punishments to run consecutively to the punishment imposed in felony case ending in 808-1. In case BAF 2400717, Mr. Haro has pled guilty to being a felon in possession of a firearm pursuant to Penal Code Section 29800 and ammunition under Penal Code Section 30305. These offenses are based on his possession of a loaded firearm, which is a single act. Accordingly, the court stays punishment for count 2, the possession of ammunition charge pursuant to Section 654. For the firearm possession charge in count 1, I will impose a subordinate term of 8 months, which is 1/3 of the midterm, to run consecutively to to the principal term.
All right, so this is good. He's adding these other charges consecutively, which means that they have to be served one after the other. Usually, you'll hear judges give concurrent sentences, which means that the max sentence is the sentence that they're going to do. The other sentences are being served at the same time. So if you got a 10-year max sentence, but then you got a concurrent like 5-year sentence, you just do 10 years because you're serving that 5 years while you're serving that 10 years together. When it's consecutively, you have to do your full 10 years, and then you're going to do that additional 5 years for that different charge. This judge is giving him consecutive terms, which means that that number is going to be higher than 25 to life. So this is also a good sign. Let's keep going. But before we go back, H Sing with a $10 super chat says, H Sing Chen, rather, my fault, with $10 super chat, longtime viewer, appreciate you, supporter of the channel. We miss you and we love you. Says the grandma was only talking about herself. She's unbearable. Thank you for the coverage. Thank you for the support, Miss Chang. Let's keep going.
When determining whether to impose consecutive or concurrent sentences, the rules of court provide several factors for the court to consider. The factors related to the crime include whether or not, 1, the crimes and their objectives were predominantly independent of each other. 2, the crimes and their the crimes involved separate acts or threats of violence. Or 3, the crimes were committed at different times or separate places, rather than being committed so closely in time and place as to indicate a single period of terrible behavior. The court may also consider any aggravating or mitigating circumstances in deciding whether to impose concurrent or consecutive sentences, except that the court may not impose a consecutive sentence based on 1, a fact used to impose the upper term, or 2, a fact used to otherwise enhance the defendant's sentence, and 3, a fact that is an element of the crime. The consecutive punishments are appropriate here because the crimes and their objectives were independent of each other, involved separate acts, and were committed at different times, indeed over the course of many years. Accordingly, the court imposes all felony punishments to run consecutively to each other. Mr. Haro has also pled guilty to a misdemeanor offense of filing a false police report and count.
All right, real quick, guys, just want to jump in here. I apologize. I know some people hate when I do this, but this is what YouTube tells me to do. We have almost 300 people watching us right now in this live stream. Please hit that like button, support the channel. And if you popped in on us just by the whim of the algorithm, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's totally free. It won't hurt you, but it'll definitely help a small channel trying to break through on these YouTube streets. We do appreciate you. And once again, if you're brand new to the show, I'm an active duty detective, and we're just trying to give a voice to the voiceless here. Let's keep going.
In felony case in Unit 08. For this misdemeanor offense, the court imposes a term of 180 days to be served in any penal institution. Having imposed the terms as explained, the court hereby imposes an aggregate term of 180 days and 6 years, 8 months, plus 25 years to life in state prison. I do want to touch on my discretion in case there was any question. Looking back on this in the future, were the voters, or the legislature, oh my God, or were there to be any decisional law?
That's for those fake tears coming down his face. Who are you crying for? I wish I could just have a candid conversation. That's one thing I loved about working in the prison system for so long. As an investigator in the prison system before becoming a police officer, I used to be able to talk to guys like this. And I would always ask them how they really felt in these circumstances. If they were like high profile and I remembered their case, I would love to talk to Jake maybe a year from now when things kind of settle down for him, maybe 2 years, he got to get settled into his routine of being an inmate and just say, you know, when you were crying at the court, who were you crying for? Were you crying for Emmanuel or were you crying for yourself? You'd be surprised how honest these guys are when they're on the inside and you're talking to them and they don't really have anything to gain or anything to lose. You'd be surprised. Let's keep going.
In the future, I would grant this court any additional discretion in sentencing and which might benefit Mr. Haro. This court would decline to exercise any such additional discretion to lower or mitigate Mr. Haro's sentence. The court has weighed and balanced all the aggravating and mitigating factors in this case and considered all circumstances such that the court believes the current sentence is just and appropriate. Mr. Haro's conduct and culpability in the offense against his own children lead the court to conclude that Mr. Haro's sentence today is fully justified without future downward modification, even should the legislature provide such discretion. In regards to the fines, the court will impose a restitution fine of $10,000. The court finds the maximum fine is appropriate given the number of felonies the defendant was convicted of and the number of years he is being ordered to serve. The court imposes the parole revocation restitution fine in the amount of $10,000 as well. This fine is stayed unless and until parole is revoked. I will impose the court security fees as well as the penalties. The court additionally imposes the state penalty of $10 for every $10 or part of $10 upon every fine imposed. The state penalty assessment of 20% of the base fine, the court operations assessment of $40 for each conviction, and the court facilities assessment of $30.
All right, we talking money right now.
Ms. Lowe, I will take note of your request under Duenas. And at this time, those fines and fees will be imposed, but stay the execution pursuant to Duenas. In regard
All right, let's keep going. Let's fast forward a little bit.
of your right to appeal, the notice of appeal must be filed within exclusion from admission to the United States and denial of naturalization pursuant.
This is one thing that this is not my superpower. Like there's some YouTubers who could sit through every single nitty gritty of a court case. I cannot. Maybe because I've been in 1,000 court cases, I cannot sit there and have them and just listen to them quoting these statutes to explain why they're charging these inmates $5 after they murdered somebody. Should be charged $1 million after you murdered somebody.
Federal law.
Big shout out to Orange Rose, says I'm
Advise that
blessed to be a part of this community. Thank you. Celebrating 5 months as a patrol member. We're blessed to have you. Appreciate you.
at the expiration of the term of imprisonment here imposed, you may be released on parole unless the Board of Prison Terms waives parole for good cause. If parole is granted, the period of parole shall be for 3 years. Now, sir, going over your credits, and Ms. Lowe.
So they just said that if he gets parole, he will only do 3 years of parole if he manages to get parole at the end of his sentence. Unbelievable.
Barclay,
He should get life of parole. He should never get off parole. But let's keep going.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Robinson, I believe we went over these this morning, but just want to make sure that I have the correct credits. Sir, in BAF, case ending in 017, you have credits of 72 plus 72 for a total of 144 days. Mr. Smith, Ms. Lowe, Ms. Garthwaite, do you agree?
Yes.
In case ending in 265, your banning case, you have credits for 167 days actual plus 166 days 4019 for a total of 333.
Yes.
And lastly, sir, in the case, your newest case, ending in 808, your Riverside case, you have credits of 74 days actual plus 0 days good time credit for a total of 74 days.
Yes.
So to reiterate the final disposition, Mr. Haro, you are hereby sentenced to serve 180 days and 6 years, 8 months to terminal. You are ordered to serve 25 years to life in the state prison for the child abuse perpetrated against CH, for unlawfully possessing a firearm and ammunition after having been convicted of such a heinous crime, and for the senseless assault and murder of Baby Emmanuel. While no sentence can possibly vindicate the loss of innocence and life at the hands of Mr. Haro, the man who was supposed to protect these precious and defenseless children against evil and harm, the sentence here is the most the court can do to ensure that as much justice is done as possible. To that end, the court imposes the aforementioned terms of imprisonment, fines, and penalties and assessments, and I will be filing a written order of today's sentence. Anything else at this time before I sentence him or order him transported forthwith? Ms. Lowe or Ms. Garthwaite?
No, thank you, Your Honor. I have a point of clarification, Your Honor.
Okay.
I just wanted to inquire, it's my understanding that the court did impose the $10,000 restitution.
All right. So they're talking about the money. Big shout out to A Obsidian. Saw this already. Said that he will be eligible for parole after 32 years. I concur with that math. Yeah, he'll still having a chance at life, you know. Still have a chance at life. Contrary to popular belief, guys usually leave jail in excellent condition. You eat right, you work out, you're in a regimented life. There's, once you get acclimated to prison, there's not a lot of stress. One thing I noticed working in maximum security prisons is really weak people are the ones who are usually harassed. People who are middle of the road, they're not gangsters, they're not thugs, but they're willing to defend themselves. They don't really get bothered. And they stay out of the drug game. They stay out of the gangs. They don't get bothered. They don't get bothered. They come, they get their stuff, they go back, they don't bother nobody. They live a solitary life. They go work out, they eat good. When I say eat good, you can eat good if you have somebody supporting you and sending you commissary. But if you don't and you're just eating prison food, you're eating food that has been determined to be, nutritious. And so they'll leave prison in good condition. I have no doubt that Jake Haro is going to leave prison in good condition when he's 64. And that's more than what he deserves. Jake Haro should never see the light of day, but unfortunately, I do believe this prosecutor cut an underhanded deal with him that made him plead guilty. How do I know this? Because he was facing murder 1, but he pled guilty to murder 2. You can't plead guilty to a lesser charge unless the prosecutor agrees to it. So once again, this prosecuting office made a deal on a case they were not supposed to make a deal on. They made a deal with him with promised faith. They made a deal with him for Emmanuel Haro. Once again, your prosecutors failed you. Understand that, ladies and gentlemen. It is impossible. Once again, it is impossible for you to plead guilty to a lesser charge unless the prosecutor agreed to it. Unless the prosecutor agreed to it. So they made a deal with him. Whether they're broadcasting it or not, they made a deal. This is a deal. If he would have got charged and convicted or pled guilty to murder 1, he would get life without parole, and we'd never have to worry about seeing the likes of Jake Haro on our streets ever again. But the prosecutor made an underhanded deal with him. He pled guilty, and they said, okay, we're good with that. We'll take the murder second. We'll drop the murder first. Disgusting. Disgusting. Let's read one article for you guys and we'll get out of here. Actually, we got the district attorney. So Aki wants me to read this one, but I'm also going to read the district attorney's statement because we should hear from the district attorney. We should. California father who ended his 7-month-old son sentenced to more than 30 years in prison. Riverside, California. Southern California father who was pleaded guilty to killing his missing 7-month-old was sentenced Monday to more than 30 years in prison. Jake Haro, 32, was sentenced after he pleaded guilty last month to the second-degree murder of his son, Emmanuel. The Riverside County District Attorney's Office said in a statement, a months-long investigation has failed to locate the child's remains. They didn't even get a deal where he would tell them where Emmanuel is located. Now, I think Emmanuel is exactly where he led those cops that when he was seen on the side of the highway in the desert, I think that's literally where he put Emmanuel. That's where he put him. And understand that if you just put a baby out there like that, the elements and nature will make that body disappear. So it does not surprise me that he led them to the area where Emmanuel was disposed of and they found nothing. Does not surprise me at all. That is how nature is programmed to deal with decomposition. There are bacteria, bugs, animals, vultures, everything that's out there to make those remains disappear. It's just nature. But they made a deal with him. Let's keep going. Haro and his wife Rebecca had reported the baby was kidnapped outside a store in Southern California in August, saying Rebecca Haro was attacked and left unconscious while changing the boy's diaper. The case drew widespread attention as authority members of the public fanned out to search for the baby. The couple was arrested a little more than a week later at their home in the desert community of Cabazon, some 20 miles west of Palm Springs, after Rebecca Haro was confronted about inconsistencies in their account. Now, I want you to also take into consideration, ladies and gentlemen, that Emmanuel Haro was not missing when the mother reported. So take this into consideration when I tell you that I believe that Haro was put inside the desert, that Emmanuel was put in a desert, and his remains are gone now. They've been degraded. They've been processed by nature and been returned to nature. From nature we cometh, from nature we return. That's what happened to Emmanuel Haro. Why? Because he was probably gone for months, ladies and gentlemen. Months. People are asking, wouldn't the cadaver dogs get him? Not after months. If it was just a week between her reporting Emmanuel being fake kidnapped and them actually getting arrested for unaliving him, yeah, sure. No, it was months. There's some estimates that Emmanuel was gone for many months before he was reported. He has not been seen for months. He was gone months prior. And then there's allegations of them buying power tools and saws and hacksaws and all that stuff. If they dismembered him and disposed of him inside of the desert, he's gone. No cadaver dogs are going to find him. Those things are based off of science and nature, not magic. They can't pick up a scent from 6 months ago. Mind you, tons of other animals have already passed away in that area, been decomposed and eaten as well. Not to mention that these predators, they just don't keep you in that area. They drag you to their lairs and their dens, etc. It's a wrap. They're never going to find him. Let's keep going. Jake Haro murdered Emmanuel, but in reality, he comes before this court having taken the lives of 2 young children. If there are lower forms of evil in this world, I'm not aware of them. Brandon Smith, Assistant District Attorney in Riverside County, stated in a court filing. Let's go over to the District Attorney's statement, and then let's call it a day because I am tired and I need to get some sleep. Today, November 3rd, a judge sentenced the father of 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro after he pleaded guilty to the court last month. Jake Mitchell Haro, date of birth 2/9/1993 of Cabazon, was sentenced to 25 to life by Judge Gary Polk at the Riverside Hall of Justice. He was charged with 1 count of murder, assault of a child and under 8 years old, and death and filing a false police report. In case number blah, 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 the court found child abuse resulting in the death to be the principal offense and imposed an indeterminate term of 25 years to life in state prison. Indeterminate means that after his sentence is done, it's up to a parole board to determine when to let him go. They don't have to ever let him go, or they can let him go at any time after that initial period has been served. So we know that he got 25 to life, but he got some extra time for the other charges. So when he's done doing his 32 years, it's up to now the parole board to determine when he gets out. Let's keep going. In his prior case, the court imposed an additional 6-year term and another 8 months for being a felon in possession of a firearm. All sentences ordered to run consecutively. So in actuality, he actually got some justice. We got some justice for Promise Faith because he was still on probation for what he did to Promise Faith. And so he got some, I think that's the previous case. If it's not, then I apologize. So, scratch that. Let me make sure I got the facts before I make a bold statement like that. He was on probation for something, and he is now going to be doing 6 years for the violation of that probation. I just can't say definitively it's for promised faith. So I'm going to retract that because I don't want to have egg on my face, but let's keep going. Haro was further ordered to pay $10,000 in restitution and was credited with 551 days of time served. Aki thinks it's the guns. I think so too. It might be. All right, let's see. A Obsidian says that the 6 years is for promised faith. So maybe he was still on probation for promised faith. I'm not sure. But my moderators are fighting. The girls are fighting. The girls are fighting over who's right. So let's let them keep fighting because it's fun to watch. Let's keep going. The lies told in this case only deepened the tragedy of Emmanuel's death. Riverside County District Attorney Mike Hestron said, while today's sentence represents a measure of accountability for Jake Haro, our office will continue to seek justice as the case against his co-defendant moves forward. Jake Haro changed his plea from not guilty to guilty in a felony settlement conference. I knew it. Told you. Felony settlement conference. They made a deal, a plea bargain. I told you guys. I told you. October 16th, his guilty pleas were to the court and not a plea bargain. You're lying. He said, not a plea bargain. Oh, it was in a settlement. This is the same witchcraft they did the first time. Remember, they said the same thing with the first one. It's the same witchcraft they did in the first case with promised faith, and they still doing the same crap. You made a deal with him. You made a deal with him. There's no way murder in the first could have got taken off of the table without the expressed permission and agreement of the prosecutor. That's how America works. Let's keep going. His wife, Rebecca Haro, date of birth 2/3/1984, maintains her not guilty plea. Her next hearing is a felony settlement conference scheduled for January 21st. The defendant were arrested on August 22nd when investigators with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department determined the couple fabricated claims that their infant was abducted amid a surprise attack in a Yucaipa parking lot. You know, you covering the case for a long time where you know how to pronounce their crazy names like Yucaipa. I would have never known how to say that unless I was covering this case. I'm proud of myself. Yucaipa. I say it like a local. Yucaipa. Anyway, let's keep going. Prosecutors believe evidence shows that Emmanuel died due to multiple acts of abuse and the repeated assaults led to the boy's death. As of this news release, Emmanuel's remains have not been recovered. Ladies and gentlemen, I do pray from the bottom of my heart that they find Emmanuel, either his body intact or his remains, and that they could put that young boy to rest with dignity and at peace. I do pray for that. Today is a beautiful day that we got some measure of justice. Justice is not always what we want it to be, but it's something. And it's great that we live in a great country that sometimes we can actually experience justice. But he's going to jail. And he's going to jail for a significant amount of time of his life. And it's something to be grateful for. So I'm going to take the Wakes hat off because we're out of court now. Sentence has been rendered. The verdict is guilty. And the sentence is life in prison with the possibility of parole. So guys, we will be keeping track of this case. This case is not done yet. We still have Rebecca Haro. I do believe that Rebecca Haro is going to fight this case. Why? She has no leverage to not fight it. She have seen what the best deal that could possibly had was given to Jake, who was the actual murderer, allegedly. At least that's by her account. It's either you fight it or you get life with the possibility of parole. So she has nothing to lose, ladies and gentlemen. She has everything to gain for her to go into that court and to pretend like she's suffered from battered women syndrome, paint Jake Haro to be the monster that he absolutely is, so that won't be hard for her to do, and basically pray that the jury and the judge will have leniency on her. So this is going to trial, unless, of course, the DA does some other backroom deals that they're so keen and fond of doing in this part of the country, and they offer her something like 15 or 20 years flat. She get a 15 or 20 year, she's going to take that. She's going to take that like it's no tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. like a little kid collecting candy in Halloween, she's going to take it. But I suspect that they're not going to offer something that lenient. And so I suspect that most likely this will be going to trial. Anyway, guys, I love you guys immensely. You guys been great. Thank you for sharing your time with me. It's 11:24 p.m. Eastern time. For some of you guys, it's even later. And some of you guys, it's just a little bit earlier. But either way, it's time for us all to go to bed. Ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to crack the code to get into the algorithm. We got a great community, and we're trying to give you guys a good product that you guys can learn and at the same time being entertained with. If there's anybody out there who understands how the algorithm works, don't, no amateurs. If there's really somebody out there who understands how the algorithm works, how to make shows more YouTube friendly, that they could be shown and picked up by the algorithm, please reach out and show some love to a brother. I don't have no money. Obviously, we have a small show. I don't have money. I can't pay for any consultants. Anybody wants to donate some knowledge, I don't need you to donate your time. I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking for anybody to do anything free for me. I'm just asking for somebody to send me an email and donate some knowledge so that we can learn how to better this show. All right. We're in our bubble right now. Bubbles don't help shows grow. When you have people saying, you're great and I like you and you're the best, hey, it feels good, but it doesn't help you grow. Criticism helps you grow. Healthy criticism helps you grow. And even if it's not criticism, if it's advice, that helps you grow. So that's what the email is for. So please use the email. If you have knowledge on these topics, show some love, give us some tidbits, give us some advice, and we'll definitely be very grateful to you for it. And hopefully this show can grow and we can reach a wider audience. And one day it'll be so successful, I can retire from my day job and I can do this full time and give you guys my undivided attention and my experience. That's all I'm asking for. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.